Alex had always believed his future would be extraordinary. He could see it so clearly, lying awake at night. That moment his hard work would finally pay off. The quiet satisfaction of becoming someone he truly respected. He devoured books on success, watched countless interviews with people he admired, and talked endlessly about the life he was going to build. In his mind, it was only a matter of time, but mornings always told a different story. When the alarm blared, Alex would just reach over and silence it. Tomorrow, he'd promise himself, I just need to feel ready. Some days, he blamed exhaustion. Other days, he blamed uncertainty. He convinced himself that planning was the same as progress, that just thinking deeply about his future was a step toward it. Years slipped by like this. The dreams only grew sharper, more detailed, but the work never began. He watched as people younger than him, people he once thought he would leave behind, started pulling ahead. They weren't more talented or more confident. They just showed up, day after day, while Alex stayed trapped in his own head. The realization didn't come with a bang, but with a quiet, honest moment of reflection. He hadn't been held back by a lack of potential. He'd been held back by comfort. Dreaming felt safe. Taking action felt exposed and risky. Alex started to understand a painful truth. His dreams had never actually demanded anything from him. They only asked to be imagined, not earned. And every time he spoke about them without acting, his brain gave him a little hit of false progress as if wanting something badly enough was the same as doing it. It wasn't. The gap between who he wanted to be and what he did each day grew wider, and that gap was filled with regret. One evening, after watching yet another motivational video, something inside him shifted. It wasn't inspiration this time. It was exhaustion. He was just so tired of feeling hopeful and yet remaining completely unchanged. Tired of waiting for the right mood, the right moment, the right version of himself to magically appear. So the next morning, he did something almost laughably small. He didn't try to overhaul his entire life. He didn't chase some massive breakthrough. He just took one modest action, something so simple it barely felt meaningful. And guess what? No surge of motivation followed. No sudden clarity appeared. But he did it anyway. The next day, he did it again. And the day after that. Some days, he resented it. Some days, he wanted to quit. Most days, it felt completely insignificant. But slowly, very slowly, something began to change. The action became familiar. The internal resistance started to soften. What once required a huge amount of effort began to feel natural. Weeks turned into months. Alex noticed he no longer had to argue with himself before starting. He didn't feel inspired, but he did feel capable. The quiet pride of keeping a promise to himself replaced the empty excitement of just imagining success. When he finally looked back, the change wasn't some dramatic, overnight transformation, but it was undeniable. He had built something real, a foundation. Not through soaring ambition, but through quiet consistency. While others were still waiting for motivation to strike, Alex had learned how to move without it. He finally understood that strength isn't about feeling ready. It's about acting despite the resistance. He learned that discipline isn't some harsh, heroic act. It's humble. It's repetitive. And it's often invisible to everyone else. And in that simplicity, Alex found the one thing he had been chasing all along. Momentum. The lesson was no longer something he just read about or believed in. It was something he was living. Preparation without action was a lie he no longer told himself. Waiting for motivation was a trap he had finally escaped. Real change, he learned, begins the moment you stop asking how you feel and you start honoring what you've committed to do. Strength isn't saying, I feel like doing this. Strength is saying, I will do this anyway. And that quiet, ordinary, repeated decision was how Alex finally began to shape his life. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more stories like this.